Hey, Jay Clark here. We have a 2017 Honda CRF450RX. We're going to give you an inside look at this brand new off-road bike from Honda. So for those of you who haven't seen our review already on the brand new CRF450R, this bike is an upgraded version of that for off-road purposes. So that bike has been completely redesigned as a motocross bike. It has a downdraft, straight into the intake, designed for the airflow, titanium fuel tank, spring forks are back, a whole new chassis, lighter, more compact engine, trying to get the central of mass on this bike all compacted in here. Getting really good reviews, probably going to be a top 2 or 3 bike in most of the shootouts with most of the magazines and so forth. So an all new motocross bike, and this bike right here is based on that motocross bike. So for this bike, the big changes between the R and the RX are the larger tank, which is of course plastic, larger capacity for off-road use, 18-inch rear wheel, has a kickstand, of course you need for off-road use, comes standard with the electric start. The electric start, you do have to pull the clutch in, we just noticed. So just like the X models, that's a feature you had to do then, have the clutch in, electric start. The R does not come standard with electric start, it's an option you have to purchase. So you got electric start. You have a little bit finer tuned, softer suspension settings. Same forks, same shock, but they're a little bit different settings. Also the ECU, or the mapping you'd call it for this bike, or jetting for those guys that are familiar with that, is a little bit tamed down for more of a trail use, a little bit more friendly, easier to ride power is what they're going for trail use. So those are some of the key features. Also, even these little brackets right here that you see right here in the engine, these hangers for the head stays, these are a little bit different than the R model to give a little bit different flex for the off-road version. Just like the motocross bike, it comes standard with a skid plate, which is really cool. For an off-road bike, it doesn't come with handguards, a little bit of a down feature for an off-road bike, but it has a skid plate. Mufflers are the same. These aren't spark arrested mufflers. So if you're going to be riding off-road areas where you need to be spark arrested legal, that's something you'd have to look at as well. 18-inch rear wheel with the Dunlop AT81 front and rear, make this bike a little bit different than the motocross bike. For the transmission on this bike, all they've done is added a 1-tooth larger rear sprocket. The transmission itself is the same as the R model, just with a larger rear sprocket for better trail power. Hey, so we're really looking forward to riding this thing. We got Chase here and myself. We're gonna go put some laps on this thing around this off-road circuit here at Couia Creek and see what we think. Hey, we're back. Chase and I have both been riding this thing, and we've got a few of us have got a lot of time on this thing now, out here all day on this thing, and have had a great time on this RX. Really good bike. I'm going to go over a few of the things on it that we've learned throughout the day of riding, and one of the first things we've learned is that this does not replace the 450X. There still will be a 450X for sale that a guy wants to be a little bit more full-on trail, desert, wide open stuff. That X is still available. The carbureted X. This bike falls in between an R and an X, and that's why they call it RX. It is more of a race bike, a closed course race bike. It's not a true trail bike. It's more of a race bike for like GNCCs, WORCS races, hare and hounds. Those types of racing is what it's really intended for, although I know many guys will trail ride this bike. So that's the first thing. Next thing is it's about 18 pounds heavier than the R version of this bike, with the larger tank, rear wheel, and the electric start. All those things make this bike about 18 pounds heavier. That's a bit of a downside. The plus side of that is I didn't notice a lot of that weight difference. It's not drastic. Even for some of the faster guys I talked to, didn't seem to feel that as drastically as you would think. The next thing is it's about $400 more retail price than the R version of the bike. So, because guys are gonna go, should I get an R or get an RX. And so this bike's about 400 bucks more, and you get the 18-inch rear wheel, the larger tank, electric start, standard. So you get all those features for this bike. So as far as riding the bike, I thought the bike felt really good. I ran it mainly in map 2. I tried all the maps. There's 1, 2, and 3. 1 is standard. 2 is the easier, lazy, old, slow guy map, let's say. And that one just has a little bit less hit. And a lot of the guys seem to like that one. In a lot of the tighter trails where it's whooped out, not as much of a handful. And 3 is full power mode for max power. And the younger guys, Chase, I think he's going to prefer 3, my guess, just because they got to say they like the most power, you know. So I think that's what they kind of go for. So I think that in map 2, I felt it was pretty good. I don't think I would really want to modify anything on this bike motor-wise as far as a 450 goes. I think it's really good. If you wanted to ride in, you know, areas that required a spark arrestor, that'd be the only thing I'd want to add to the bike to make it spark arrestor legal. Otherwise, the bike felt really good. The forks are really good, easy to adjust. The spring forks have a really good feel to them. So adjusting those with Honda was really easy. Everything else on the bike, the ergonomics, the feel of being on a Honda, and I've been a long-time Honda rider, have always felt very comfortable. This bike is still very comfortable. This bike does not have the steering stabilizer that's been on the Hondas since about 09. They've gotten rid of that. They say because of the new chassis and suspension setup that they don't need that stabilizer on there. So the R and the RX here don't have that stabilizer. Doesn't seem to need it so far, and everything we were feeling, it feels really good in turns where the old bike didn't want to settle into those turns as well. Again, for a trail bike, I think the bike should come stock with handguards. It does come with a skid plate. I think it should come with some, you know, KTM XC style handguards. But other than that, the bike feels really good. I don't think you're going to go wrong with this bike. If you're looking for a good trail bike and you're a Honda guy, this is going to be the bike for you. So we'll see what Chase thinks of this thing, and hopefully see you out riding soon.
Hey guys, Chase here. So I just got done riding this 2017 CRF450RX, and I had a blast today. To give you a background on myself, I'm really just a moto guy. That's all I've ever really ridden. I've never just hopped on an actual trail or GNCC style bike and gone out and ripped around. And I gotta say, first impression, I had a really great time. Bike, you know, handled awesome. You know, from the 450R, which I've ridden, the new 17, the suspension is a little bit softer, but you know, on those tight trails and those hard sand whoops that we're riding today, it really did well. I had to go a little bit stiffer on the compression. That's just personal preference, but overall, it handled really well. What I liked is that it is a little bit wider because you do have the oversized gas tank, but when I stood on it, I didn't really notice that. So the bike still felt pretty slim, you know, pretty comparable to the R. As far as riding it, when we're out on the trails, you know, brakes work really, really well. The engine is detuned, just like Jay said. We played around with the mapping today. I tried all 3 map settings. Yeah, I did opt to go with the more aggressive map, the 3rd map on there. But yeah, the bike handled awesome. You know, 18-inch rear wheel was nice when you're just kind of putting around in those tight corners throughout the trees and stuff. And as far as anything I would change on the bike, you know, really just super small things that are gonna be personal preference. Maybe, you know, softer, different grips, oversized bars, maybe a bend you like, some breakaway levers. Definitely want to throw some handguards on there. I actually learned that the hard way today. I hit a tree a couple times, you know, going in and out of the trees. So really, with the bike stock, how it's set up, I had a blast on it. And what I like too is that, you know, being a moto guy, I was like, it's gonna be okay, but I'm gonna want my R by the end of the day. But to be honest, you know, we went down and we rode on both the tracks today, and I rode the pro track, and I was able to rip around on this thing, and I had a blast. The suspension was a little bit soft, but so if you're really a trail guy or a GNCC rider, but occasionally you do like to go out and hit up the motocross track, I think this bike's gonna go out there and rip, and you're not gonna have any regrets. You could throw on just a 19-inch rear wheel, take the kickstand off, and you really do have a full motocross bike. It's gonna be a little bit different. You just gotta kind of tweak your settings, but overall, first impression, I think Honda knocked it out of the park. I think anyone looking for a good trail bike, off-road, GNCC, or WORCS bike, I think you can't go wrong. I think you're gonna be totally happy with this bike. Now, make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to us on YouTube, because we're gonna be doing a direct comparison. We're gonna compare the 450R to the RX. So if you are having a hard time deciding which bike, you know, you would wanna go with, we're gonna tell you about the differences and, you know, help steer you in the right direction. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.